Ancient Rome was known for its gladiators, wild animals, and other spectacles of the Colosseum. However, some events pushed the limits of brutality and humanity. Here are 15 of the most inhumane acts and spectacles that took place in the Roman arenas that you have unheard of. Emperor Nero staged a mock naval battle in the Rome's amphitheater. He unleashed poisonous snakes into the audience, and then watched with amusement as the crowds panicked and fell victim to poisonous bites. In another grotesque spectacle, chariots raced through the audience, crushing spectators under their wheels. Charioteers wielding long hooks would drag the charioted victims up into the air and then toss them over the chariot like a rag doll. Sometimes they were thrown into the stands, where they would crush other spectators, or they would be thrown into the arena floor, where the lions would catch them. Wild animals weren't just beasts to be admired from afar. They were often brought into the stands among the spectators. Elephants, camels, lions, and tigers prowled through the crowds, trampling and biting anyone who got in their way. Gladiators weren't the only ones fighting for their lives in the arena. Condemned criminals were also forced to fight each other to the death as spectators watched intently. This wasn't a test of skill or strategy, but rather a raw display of survival instincts as desperate men fought with whatever weapons they could get a hold of. Sometimes the condemned were given a choice: either fight to the death or face a far worse fate. For instance, one criminal might be offered a chance to live. If he agreed to be chained up and then have poisonous snakes dropped onto him, as the snakes slithered over his body and bit him, the crowd would cheer and bet on whether he would survive the ordeal. Animal baiting was a popular form of entertainment in ancient Rome, and it involved taunting wild animals with the use of smaller animals, typically small dogs or even slaves. Spectators would watch with amusement as the wild animals, such as lions or bears, tried to catch the bait, while the tiny dogs dodged their powerful paws and teeth. It was a cruel and dehumanizing spectacle, but it was seen as a test of the wild animal's prowess and a source of amusement for the Roman crowds. In one particularly gruesome example, a man was tied up and suspended by chains from a crane in the middle of the arena while poisonous. Snakes were released into the cage with him. The crowd roared with laughter as the terrified man struggled against his bonds and tried to fend off the snakes. Another variation of this torture involved tying up two men back to back and dropping a large net full of snakes over them. The audience would then place bets on which man would die first, both from snake bites and exhaustion. Sometimes the games took a sinister turn when the emperor decided to target specific individuals in the audience. During one such event, Emperor Commodus ordered that all bald, short, or fat men be killed. In another instance, Domitian unleashed poisonous gas into the audience, targeting senators who were sitting in the front row. While gladiatorial combat was brutal and bloody, there was a certain code of honor among the fighters. However, one type of gladiator was despised by both the audience and fellow gladiators, the retiarius, because he used a net and trident. This style of fighting was considered cowardly since the retiarius relied on tricks and deception to win, rather than skill and strength. As a result, the retiarii were often taunted and insulted by the crowd and other gladiators. In one particularly disturbing spectacle, a defeated retiarius was stripped naked and then crucified upside down in the arena. His severed limbs were cut off and thrown to the crowd to be caught, and the blood from his wounds was sprinkled over the spectators. This brutal display was meant to humiliate and terrify the audience. During the reign of Caligula, the emperor hosted feasts in the Colosseum, inviting 8 men of only one type, bald, short, or fat. Once the unsuspecting men had been identified, they were invited to the emperor's private box where they were poisoned and then thrown into the arena. The most inhumane form of entertainment in the Roman arenas was the mock executions. These spectacles involved innocent people being brought into the arena and having their executions mimicked by armed soldiers. This was done to entertain the crowds who enjoyed watching the terror and suspense of the fake executions. To add to the realism, the victims were sometimes chained up or blindfolded before being paraded around the arena. While accounts of these horrors are chilling, they offer a glimpse into the dark side of human history and serve as a reminder of the importance of respecting life and dignity of all individuals. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future videos.